Yeah.
Well, then welcome everyone once again. This is Coffee Time with Nate and Julie. And today we have a topic that we are going to talk about. Of course, I'm Nate and Julie is over there in the greater San Fran area. How was your weekend?
It was amazing. I facilitated a bars class that was super fun and easy.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Super fun and easy. Nobody was fighting for the rightness of their point of view, and nobody was like arguing about.
They were like, absorbing it like a sponge. It was awesome. Don't you love when you find those people or when they find you?
Yeah, it's so much. It's so much easier. Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absorbing it like a tubes.
Yeah.
Trying to get to the right section so I can see the comments. It's funny, I did a one of those stories on Facebook with the title of this, and then I did a poll.
Mm-hmm.
What do you normally feel, right or wrong?
Right.
And nobody clicked anything. I don't know, like a few people saw it, but they didn't click. So I clicked.
Yeah.
Clicked right. Because there's a lot of times when I feel right. And obviously I also feel wrong. But like, I don't know, I really tried to perfect and get things right in most of my life.
Yeah.
So I felt right. But there was that underlying, well, I'm trying to do this because I feel totally wrong. So I just wonder how many other people out there have functioned that way too.
Yeah. And I mean, the idea of the importance of being right, like your value is associated with how right you are or how many more people you're right than. Like if I'm more right, that makes me a better person. And if I'm wrong, then I'm a worse person. Like, yeah.
It almost seems like if you're wrong, people like you better. Because if you're right, people hate you or something. Create separation, you know.
Well, you do hear about that. People are impressed by perfection or high level performance, but they relate more to someone who like messes up once in a while, right? So yeah, there is that sort of resentment and sort of distrust even of people who are always right. And you don't like those people. I mean, I've had coworkers where like, oh, she always has to be right. No one likes her. Mm-hmm. It could be a guy, but it's generally a woman.
Well, yeah. And then there's something completely different called being correct.
Yes.
Or just knowing something is correct or not correct. And that's a very different energy, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, being correct it doesn't last forever. Like rightness is like you're right now, which means you're gonna be right forever. But being correct is like I'm aware of the situation and I perceive what's going on in this moment. And so I'm correct now. But I'm not gonna always hold on to that awareness or that perception because it's changing. It's constantly moving, it's evolving. And so you can be correct in the moment, but you're not going to be correct holding on to the same point of view for longer than 5 minutes.
Yeah. Right. And what you just said is really important to distinguish that correctness is awareness, and awareness is really only good for 10 seconds. It's not something that you can make solid because then it's not awareness anymore. It's a conclusion, it's a point of view. So let's do a clearing.
Yes.
So everywhere we've been correct and we've turned it into rightness, which cuts off our awareness going forward. Let's destroy and uncreate all that.
Right, wrong, good and bad, talking pot, online, shorts, boys, and beyonds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like all the times that you lock an awareness in, so it becomes that judgment. So you were correct in the moment, but I mean, how many times have we referenced a past awareness as though that will continue now to be correct, right? Like, you have to be in the moment. You have to be continually being aware.
But isn't that too hard? Doesn't that take too much energy?
I would say it's a muscle you have to build, certainly. And I think that, at the beginning stages, I mean, I'm still at the beginning stages, but you have to trust yourself and the awareness that you get. So when you perceive something or when you're aware of something, don't doubt yourself. And as you begin to acknowledge what you are aware of, you build that muscle and it becomes easier. So it isn't about the expenditure of energy, like how much energy you're using to do it. It's more about practicing being, period. Practicing being, right? Like, it's just something that you're not taught to do. And I would say that it becomes easier and it is less energy, but it's such a monumental shift from how you've been operating that it's like the amount that it takes to make that shift does seem daunting, maybe at the beginning.
Yeah, it's really true. And having these walls up of points of view of something that, started out as an awareness and then you like solidified it, that actually takes more energy to maintain it. But we're so used to doing it, we don't realize that that's what we're doing and that's where we're putting our energy.
And it's just everything being an interesting point of view.
Yeah. So let's just do a quick clearing on all the walls of conclusions that we've created that we're not aware of. Let's destroy them and create them and see what shows up.
Right now, good and bad, pocket pot, online, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Like one of the places where I find that the most prevalent is in relationship. It's like when you're looking for a relationship, you're looking for, whatever, someone fun to be with, blah, blah, blah. And then as soon as you get them, it's like locked in, you're in a relationship and they are this. And then as they change or not change, and as you start to see them for actually who they're being, there's so many conclusions. And then we cut off our awareness to more and more and more.
Yeah. And so often, instead of being in the awareness that it can change and will change, it's sort of like, you were like this when I met you. Why are you not still like that? Like, I liked that part of you. That part was right. Like, you had all these right parts when I met you, and you had a couple wrong parts, but we're going to work on those. But you can't stop with the right parts. Like, it's like such a constricting way to look at someone. Yeah.
So check this out. There's a comment. My teenage son has to be right always. He even says he prefers to be right than to be happy. Yes. And she says it drives her crazy. Well, one thing that Gary always tells parents to say to their teenage kids is, you're doing a good job. And they're going to go, what? So they're doing a good job. But when you tell them that they're doing a good job and you don't tell them what that's about, it makes them go into question. And when they go into question, they're out of their rightness of their point of view.
Right.
So you can start driving them a little crazy with the with them having to be in question.
Just tell them, hey, you know, you're really doing a good job today, and then not say what it's about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And if they like to be right, like, what can you say or be so that they feel more right?
Yeah.
So they don't have to push so hard and prove so much. You can just tell them, you're right.
Yeah. Like, you're right, I'm wrong. That's one of those like super basic tools that you hear in like the first 2 days of your first ever classes. And you're like, that's got to be too easy. But I've done it. Like, you know, say you're right, I'm wrong. And you don't have to say it like a robot, but you just get it in there like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right, I'm wrong. And then after the third time, the fourth time, they're going to backtrack a bit. And like, you know, maybe it's not such a diametrically opposed position. Like, potentially we both have good points. Like, yeah.
Yeah, there's a major contention like with politics and people who feel that they're right about stuff and other people feel that you're wrong about it. And it's like, where have we given up the ability and capacity to just play with people and to tell them what they need to hear? You know,
Yeah.
why do we have to be so brutally honest with them? Like, why not just tell them what they want to hear?
Yeah.
To create more ease.
And the other thing is, like, with a lot of like the situation that you mentioned, and especially I think with teenagers, is it's become a two option thing. Like, there's right and wrong, or the options. Mm-hmm. Instead of like, maybe we can both be right or we can both be wrong, or we could have three different people who are all right. Like, it doesn't have to be just like black and white. It can be like, everyone has their own truth, everyone has a different perception about it, everyone has a different awareness about it, and everyone has a different reality. So, you know, what you're doing.
Reality? You mean
Sorry?
A rainbow of possibilities?
Yes. Rainbow.
Yeah.
But yeah, like,
talk more about that. Let's explore that.
Well, I mean, a lot of times you look at people that you've set up as a model or what you aspire to be, when actually what they're doing would never work for you. And so you try to squeeze yourself into that and like chop yourself off to match what has been set up as the example, when actually, you know, that's not your reality. That doesn't work for you. You would have to do something totally different and be someone different, right? And the way that you are isn't wrong. It's just different. Like, it's not wrong. It's just different. That's such a helpful statement.
It really, really is.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. And like, just contemplating everything that you've been aware of your whole life and all the places where people told you you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. And what if you weren't wrong? What if you were aware of something else? And like, how much that just opens up this space for you to have more of whatever you're aware of. And it doesn't mean that you're right either. It's just that there's there are multiple possibilities and multiple realities can be created if we're willing to choose it.
Yeah.
It's like, I like listening to this podcast about entrepreneurs and how they created their companies.
Hmm.
Um, there's this one called How I Built This, and they talk about the ways that these people created their businesses, and all the different struggles that they went through, and so many times, well, I would say in every episode, the people who created this multi-million dollar whatever company that goes across the world, everybody told them they can't do it. Everybody told them they were wrong. Everybody told them that, what are they doing? They don't have any money. And they just were like, I see this as a possibility. I wonder what it would take to create it. And they just go around and over and through all the obstacles and create this amazing thing in the world.
Yeah. It's what works for them. And that's not buying into other people's points of view and judgments about what is possible, what's right, what's wrong. And also the willingness to be wrong and just say like, hey, yeah, maybe I'm wrong, and just keep doing what you know works for you, and yet not fighting the judgment of wrongness. So sort of allowing yourself to be wrong according to whoever says it, and just stay true to what you're doing and to what you know, right? So because a lot of energy is spent on combating people's judgment of your wrongness. Like, you know what you know, but you don't have to always prove that to other people. You can know, like, smugly to yourself, like, yeah, this is what works for me. I know that this is what I'm being and doing, and it works even if you can't see it. And that's the just for me, just for fun, never tell anyone. Like, just know that you know.
Yeah. There's there's a heaviness to making yourself wrong or feeling wrong, but the willingness to be wrong in somebody else's eyes can be really light.
Yeah.
It's
It
everything
also
that
saves
brings.
time too, because basically they just want to prove that they're superior and they're right. And if you
Mm.
agree with them, I mean, in their eyes, you've agreed with them, then they're going to go away. People just like to stick around for the fight.
Yeah. So what would it actually be like to trust yourself to choose and create things that are actually fun and light for you and be willing to look wrong in other people's eyes?
Yeah.
Everything that doesn't allow that pot and pock.
Right now, short closing odds. Yeah. Yeah. And that's why Access is so great with the tools of asking a question like, is it light? Does it work? And, what else is possible? So instead of following the procedure or the formula for creating a business or creating a relationship, you know, not following that, but asking questions and always being in the question and following your awareness so that you're not locked into the judgment of having it right and wrong. And just getting out of that judgment of yourself, which is, I mean, for me, historically has been, I'm not right. How can I be more right? Like, and then when I see someone that I know I'm like righter than them, then I feel this sense of like superiority when it's not even the same thing. Like, yeah, right and wrong is such a such a massive topic.
It is. So like, what if that wasn't our target in life? To be right, or to be wrong, or to be not wrong? What if we didn't have that internal judgment of what we're choosing, what we're creating? What would it be like to just completely divert from that and choose light instead of right?
Yeah, it's like, is it fun? Is it fun for you?
And that's one of the things that I notice in the beginning classes when we bring that up, like, what if the purpose of life is to have fun? People always go, oh, right, fun. Like, we've all forgotten that
Yeah.
fun is a possibility, it's a viable choice, and that, like, what's the point of living when we're not having fun? Like, it's all about hard work and effort and being moral or whatever. It's like, what? Wait a second.
I had a conversation tonight in my English class. We talked about there was a girlfriend who gave her boyfriend a lottery ticket and he won the lottery and she wanted to share the money. And the conversation was, should she get some of the money? And the girl in class said, I don't like lottery money because it's too easy. like there was this whole conversation about how because you've gotten it so easily, it's then not valued.
Wow. They can give it to me.
No, that's what I said. Absolutely. But then the other guy sitting next to her just looked at her like she was crazy. So, and again, there's not a rightness or wrongness. It's just some things work for you and some things don't work for you. And if you've created a limitation, that's where you ask a question to become aware of it. But
did the boyfriend want to give her half of it or whatever?
Well, this was like a newspaper article, just a discussion topic. So yeah, it didn't happen in the class.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, but it was an interesting conversation about money and gifts and expectations. And then like he won like $700 and they were like, yeah, split it, whatever. And it's like, oh, well, what if he won $2 million? Don't split it. Like it was more like, yeah. So yeah, but it was she had such a firm judgment of this is the right way to be with money and there's a wrong way. And I don't want this to be a money conversation necessarily, but easy and fun was something she had like removed from her reality, and the great thing about fun is there's no judgment with fun. Like success, there's a judgment with success. Like, are you successful? Is your business successful? And there's a lot of heaviness to that. But are you having fun? There's no density or contraction to, yeah, I'm having fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And therefore there's no value. Wow. Wow.
I think you might have not heard this, but yeah, the first class that I did, first 2 and 3 with Dane, there was a lot about fun, frivolity, and there's a serious, sadness, significance, and then there were a bunch of processes about fun, frivolity, and something else. Man, that did a number on me because my dad hated the word fun. He had his own acronym, and it was fanatical, undisciplined, nincompoopism. It's not even a word. Yeah. So that was
wow.
That was fun.
Gee, so if you have any fun,
Yeah.
then you're wrong. No wonder you felt wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
I'm
so.
so sorry.
I do, and I remember a couple times when I would see him really enjoying himself, and then he would like stop and pull himself back because that was like, yeah, don't do that. Like, yeah.
Wow. You know, you think about like when we're first born and navigating the world, and you wake up and it's just like, oh, you know, what do I learn today? What do we get to do? How do we get to play? Whatever. This is how my kids were. They're like,
Yeah.
wow, what are we doing today? You know, it was exciting and everything was awesome and interesting and possible. And it's like at a certain point, people expect you to stop all that nonsense and grow
Right.
up and get serious. And it's like, why? I have I have worked at removing the seriousness and adding more play, more fun. And you know, yesterday in the bars class, I said, you know, I found the access tools when I was 39. And she's like, wait a minute, how many years have you been in access? She's like, I thought you were 40. And yes,
Wow.
I'm still 39. Uh, but like when you have the lightness and the fun and the joy in your life, your body responds and it becomes generative like when you're younger. And the less fixed points of view and rightness and wrongness you do, the less um, lines on your face, the less problems and aches and pains.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, if you want a reason to come out of the right and wrong, maybe
You
it's just
look better.
to look better and feel better, you know,
Yeah.
and actually enjoy living, not
And I,
struggle through to the bitter end.
yeah. People are, for some reason, people are willing to like admit that stress and emotion affects their body, but usually only in very stressful situations. They're like, oh, in the pit of my stomach, I feel this. So there isn't acknowledgement that your body is aware of these things going on, but generally it has to be that extreme level instead of, oh, you're living in judgment and going into a job where you're like angry all day. I mean, you're not breaking things, you're not having throwing a temper, but there's like this low level simmering anger of resentment all day for like 5 years. You think that's not going to affect you physically? Yeah. In
Yeah.
relationships.
So anybody, anywhere anybody has some of that, and they're not actually listening to their body and adding in the lightness and the joy, it is possible to choose so now. So
Yeah.
everything that doesn't allow that, will you destroy and uncreate it?
Right, wrong, good, bad, bottle nine, shorts, boys, and meow.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc.
Yeah.
What else is
Actually,
possible?
yeah, when we talked about that, I was remembering that right and wrong are, I mean, they're fundamental. They're in the clearing statement. Like it starts off with right and wrong. Everything you've made right about this, everything you've made not wrong about this. Like, yeah.
It's amazing. So, yeah.
But keep at it. I mean, it's not a magical switch that you can really change in one day. Like you're gonna peel away at it over time. But it's totally worth it. Like when you start to see what's possible when you get out of rightness, or when you catch yourself judging right or wrong and be like, oh, interesting point of view, and then it's like, whoo, like it's like a deep breath. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Hmm.
It
I think it's time for you to go expand.
is time for me to go expand.
It's time for me to get to bed. I have to wake up because I have a photo shoot for my apartment tomorrow.
Cool.
Yeah, I guess. Unexpectedly. But moving out, so they want to get rid of this one. To get somebody new, I'm sorry.
Well, good luck with all of
Oh,
that.
wait. Oh, that means like next week I'll see you in a different place.
Cool. Maybe we
Yeah.
can see some of the real background.
We'll see about that. I don't think the new place is going to be set up in time. It has a much better view out the window, though. I can show you that.
That would be cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, have a great Monday.
All right. You
Thanks
too.
everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.